Okay, let the fun begin. A lot of fun stuff going on in people's lives and people's minds. So let's hear about it. Okay, you then.
I just have just kind of a simple report. Lately I've been finding myself just enjoying enjoying things that I never enjoyed before. Just enjoying for no reason. Enjoying almost all the people who come across my path, and just feeling a joy and love for people, a joy for just driving down the road, and it's just interesting enough. I don't guess I'm probably I'm least interested in whether I'm feeling good or bad than I ever have, thanks to what I've been taught, and what I've been able to practice. Just a general natural inclination to speak to strangers in elevators and make jokes with people in supermarkets, and just an enjoyment. And it is kind of a nice little side thing on the spiritual path. Considering just a few years ago, I woke up every morning thinking, oh no, not another day, and did everything I could to avoid every person, and felt different and isolated from other people. I feel just like other people and just enjoy people for no reason, and I'm just really, really grateful for that.
And you call that a little side thing?
I guess I was memorizing it a little bit. But I haven't really been looking for that anymore. But
Well, I understand why you call it a little side thing, because when one goes to say the words, especially publicly, that's the mind is involved, and the mind likes stock phrases and turn things into just a saying. So yeah, as it comes out of the mouth, it gets turned into, it's one of those great little side things on the spiritual. But you didn't really mean that. That's just your mind talking. So that's a quite common phenomena for everyone when we open our mouths. And that's what the mind does. It takes a life miracle and refers to it as, well, it's just a nice little side thing. But that's why the mind is the least best judge. The mind will always say it's not enough, or it would have happened anyway, or it's always been that way, or it'll end tomorrow. It puts some kind of twist on it in its own thinking that bastardizes it. So there's a small proof that the mind is not the best judge. Now, if you'd been promised that 2 years ago, you would have said, it's not possible. Maybe 10 years of therapy and then it's possible. But you wouldn't have been able to imagine a life that's marked by simple enjoyment day to day, in nothing special. And the nature of enjoyment, in case you haven't figured it out, because you made the statement, I seem to be enjoying things for no reason at all. All enjoyment is for no reason at all. The mind comes along instantly, and as soon as you notice you're enjoying, as soon as you're aware of it, the mind fills in the reason. Oh, it's because I'm talking to this girl and she's so pretty. It's not the reason. Enjoyment never has a reason. We think it does. And it sure seems like it does in some instances. But the truth is that enjoyment is the spontaneous nature of life. And it has no requirement to have something attached to it. Your blood flowing is enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
Your lungs breathing is enjoyment. And every other physical process. Now, generally, we don't experience it that way for a whole host of reasons that we don't bother with. But to start to understand that enjoyment is not tied to anything, is not caused by anything, that it's your absolute nature. It's the flow of life itself. The flow of life is meant to be enjoyed. So don't ever strain too hard to figure out why you really like something or enjoying it. Just know the real mechanics, that enjoyment doesn't need a source. You're the source. Life is the source. The fact that you're alive is the source. And you don't even have to be intact. There are paraplegics who are really enjoying life. They can't walk, they can't run, they can't make dinner, but their capacity for enjoyment isn't diminished. Why? Because enjoyment doesn't require anything. This goes against everything you've ever been told. But if it was true, then people in very terrible circumstances, it was true that you needed something, certain circumstances, certain things to happen, and then you can enjoy. It's the thing that makes it enjoyable, or the situation that makes it enjoyable. If that was true, people in very horrible circumstances would never feel any enjoyment, and the fact is people in the worst circumstances, people who are tremendously even not intact, admit to all kinds of enjoyment, no different than you. So liberate yourself from the idea that you have to do something, be somewhere, have something in order to enjoy. Those are just the mind's easy excuses to explain it, and enjoyment doesn't need explanation. So even when you know exactly why you're enjoying it, the truth is it is for no reason at all. You think you just love chocolate ice cream more than anything on earth, so whenever you eat it, you have this strong sense of enjoyment. It's just not true. You're simply allowing the natural capacity, the natural flow of enjoyment, more room to be there. Because you've conditioned yourself, or been conditioned that, oh, ice cream, chocolate ice cream is my favorite, equals enjoyment. But you could have the same enjoyment with no chocolate ice cream at all. The whole problem with spiritual people is they don't enjoy enough. They're all frequently looking too glum, being too serious. The profound is not found in the serious. You'll reach the profound at the deeper level and more quickly the more you enjoy. Not the more serious you are, not the more self-possessed you are. And in fact, the highest enjoyment possible is spiritual life. Which none of my disciples have figured out yet. That was a slam. They didn't know whether to laugh or take it seriously. So in different stages, spiritual life, spiritual activities, what you experience as the requirements of the spiritual path are taken very seriously and are felt to be difficult, onerous, challenging, if not too challenging. And maybe you have no hint, maybe it's never occurred to you, maybe you've never tasted it at all, that it's all to be enjoyed. It's way tastier than any chocolate ice cream if you drop the seriousness and the fear and give yourself to it wholly, and then don't expect anything instant, like instant enjoyment. But over time, if you're not finding you enjoy it in a way you never even thought about, then something isn't going in the right direction. I can absolutely guarantee you that nothing in this universe, I was going to say on this earth, but in this universe, it would be accurate to expand it. In this universe, nothing is more enjoyable than spiritual life and spiritual practice. You just haven't gotten there yet. When you get there, you'll be shocked, because you'll look back and you'll say, why did I have that long face all that time for nothing? And I can't give you the key, nobody can, how to enjoy it if you're not. It'll just have to come. You'll just have to learn how you're imposing non-enjoyment on it, because it's intrinsically enjoyable if you recognize what it actually is. I don't remember how old he was when he died. I think 73 when Swami Muktananda died. Before he died, after he turned 70, and his health started to be not so great, he said, I can't wait to die. And it was a commentary on his love of sadhana, spiritual practice and spiritual life. He said, I can't wait to die because my practice is over. I've attained the highest potential possible. All spiritual practices have been fulfilled, and he did everything. Any kind of spiritual form that exists, he did it for at least a few years. For a few years, he was a wandering monk, a begging bowl and not a penny to his name and a loincloth. For a few years, he was a priest in a temple, one who keeps the temple and does all the rituals. And for a few years, he was the local satsang giver in a couple of small villages in his area. For a few years, he was in a very strict monastery. And he did he had like 86 spiritual lives. And he fulfilled the requirements of each and went through a lot of difficulties and, all those wild mystical experiences that are possible. Not necessarily desirable, but possible. So he paid all the prices, endured all the hardships and challenges. And at the end of it all, when he got old, he said, it's all been fulfilled long ago, and I miss it. It's not the same sitting up here at the pinnacle as when I was still more of a seeker than a finder. And even after I found, there were other sadhanas, other spiritual practices that became very dear to me and very important. But I finished everything. It's like, you go to a certain school and you take every class. There's not one left to take. So he said, I can't wait to die, because then I can be reincarnated in a new life. I won't remember any of this. And I can start my spiritual practice from scratch. All over again. I can't wait to die so I can do sadhana as a 6-year-old knowing nothing. So I can go through all of it again. So I can find my master yet again. So I can drink the nectar of it one more lifetime. Now I can tell you, that man was speaking the truth. That man understood as that statement demonstrates, that he wasn't exaggerating. He wasn't trying to sound nice. He was really expressing the true enjoyableness of spiritual life and spiritual practice. There is nothing more enjoyable. You may not believe it. It may sound odd to you because it hasn't been necessarily your experience so far, or the biggest part of your experience, but if you persist, if you don't run away, if you don't become disheartened, and if you don't give up on yourself, then I can tell you the potential for enjoyment is beyond what you understand by the word enjoyment. You'll be like Muktananda. You'll want to run to go do practice. And he meditated 8-9 hours a day for years and years and for decades. Never more than about 2 hours at a time at the most, usually less. So many times a day, and he got up in the middle of the night. He only slept 3-4 hours at a time to accommodate his meditation schedule. So take a page out of the book of Swami Muktananda and understand that all of it is to be enjoyed, all of it can be enjoyed, even the parts that are difficult or painful. But you don't even need to worry about those, just the regular parts that aren't unpleasant. At least enjoy those. Don't forget to enjoy. Mostly you're forgetting. Nobody tells you maybe that, or nobody has told you before that you're to enjoy it. You're not to make it a burden. You know, if my job is at a construction site and I hate my job and I have to lift a 100-pound sack of cement, I hate my job, so I hate doing that. I don't want to be there. So I lift a 100-pound sack and hate it. I don't enjoy 1 second of it. But a block away, there's a guy whose life is devoted to weightlifting in the gym, lifting a 100-pound weight and getting the most enjoyment a human being can get from that same activity. Both are lifting a 100-pound weight. One hates it, one loves it. Be the second one. As long as you're going to live your spiritual path anyway, what do you got to lose by enjoying it? If you're going to do your sadhana, why shouldn't you enjoy your sadhana? But it's more than that. You are meant to enjoy it. You are meant to enjoy everything in life. Even the bad things. You are actually meant to enjoy everything. You are here to enjoy life. Anytime you get a gift, you're supposed to enjoy it. Otherwise, why did they give it to you? What's the purpose of life? To enjoy the gift of it. You don't need to go further than that. That's enough. You could say other things. I would say other things besides, but there's no point because unless and until you can at least really enjoy most of it, the rest isn't going to matter much. The deeper purposes are unfulfillable if you aren't enjoying most of it. Then no matter how far you go and what you attain spiritually, it'll be hollow. Because there'll always be this semi-conscious complaint about life. So don't forget to enjoy. Mostly you're not encouraged to, you're not taught to, and you actually, if you figure it out, it's okay to enjoy things, you actually forget. You get so caught up in whatever it is that you forget the enjoyment aspect. Somebody's yelling at you, you forget to enjoy it. Look, somebody's acting totally crazy. This is better than TV. They're yelling their head off. You take it personally, you get involved in it, whatever. The easy way to detach from anything is just enjoy it. So that's another sign that everything's going in the right direction. Really, my own experience the right way to relate it would be after Osho, after the bomb blast of my master arriving in my life, everything beyond that is gravy. And the statement, everything is gravy, is another form of saying it's just all to be enjoyed. What's gravy? Something to make the mashed potatoes more enjoyable.
I just want to say that I'm well aware of the fact that enjoyment is there's no accomplishment. I mean, the most I could have accomplished was to make myself unhappy and serious, and that it's grace, and grace of having a spiritual master is the only thing that I attribute it to.
Well, there's other people who have your same spiritual master and they're not enjoying nothing.
I said, who are you looking at?
I made sure when I heard myself say that to look down.
Me too.
So understand it rightly when I said after Osho everything is just gravy. That doesn't imply, I'm not meaning to suggest, that the master is the provider of the gravy. What I am meaning to suggest is that when I say everything else after that it was gravy and continues to be gravy, what I mean is, what else could happen? What else could I ask for? What else could I want? What else would matter after Osho? If you have gotten the biggest gift that exists, you don't sit around saying, well, what other gifts could come my way? It kind of puts an end. If you have come to the point where you recognize the nature of it, the real meaning of it, the real gift of it. I didn't realize it instantly. I realized in retrospect that in a way I had, but I wasn't aware of it till many years later. And in fact, you can't judge anything at the time. Anything you think about something that's recent or now, your evaluation of it will be way off the mark. It's only in hindsight that you can recognize the value of something, the meaning of something, what it really is, what place it really has in your life. Some things you won't know till 30 years from now that are happening right now. You won't know till 30 years from now the importance of it, the significance of it, and where it really fits. And we're all too quick to decide. We think we're in the right position to decide, but to judge, to evaluate, discriminate. But wait. I was reminded, because of the weekend, of the spiritual retreats I used to go to, 10-day retreats with Gangaji and Eli once a year. Once a year? Twice a year? What was that? I don't even remember. Let's say once a year in Ojai. And at the time, I thought they were great, and I loved them, and I enjoyed them, and I wouldn't not be there. I think I went to three in a row, 3 years. And I don't know when that was, like, 8, 10 years ago. Maybe less. And I'd be the first to say, wow, these were fantastic. I enjoyed every second of them. I learned a lot. I experienced a lot. I advanced a lot. And it just dawned on me, because I was mentioning something about it to Aaron. As I was mentioning whatever I was mentioning, it suddenly got very clear to me that those 3 retreats were the hallmark of my life. So far, that I have never done anything in these 60 years that I enjoyed more than those 3 retreats. I wouldn't have known that at the time. I knew I was enjoying them. I knew they were great. I loved going, and I wouldn't miss it. But I did not know these are the most enjoyable days of my life. So you don't know till later. I was just surprised a day or two ago to find that out. They weren't the most ecstatic experiences I've ever had. Those were with Osho. They weren't the most mystical or even the most eye-opening. They were just simply, for whatever reason, and I don't know the reason, because it's not just one thing, but for whatever reasons, they were simply the most enjoyable experiences of my life. So you may have done something this year, last year, you may do something next year, that as far as you're concerned, that was nice. And you may realize 20 years from now, that was the best thing I ever did. Really. In fact, I guarantee that'll happen to you. Because you can't evaluate it close to the time, close to the event, close to whatever it is. You're just too close. Time has to go by, and you have to have the wisdom of distance to be able to really know what it was for you. So even something you don't like right now, something that you think you'd rather be somewhere else or doing something else, you may change your mind in 15 years and say, I should have done more of that. So keep an open mind about your own experiences. Don't give any final evaluation until your last 30 seconds of life. That's the only time you can give a final evaluation. Because in your last 30 seconds, you might decide something you never even thought much about was the pinnacle. Then it'll be in the right relief, in the right contrast to know how to evaluate. Then you'll be evaluating with something more than the mind. And if you really, like Muktananda, exhausted all sadhana and come to the finality, you'll even enjoy dying. You'll enjoy your last thought. You'll enjoy your last breath. You'll enjoy your last ability to see, your last ability to hear. You'll say, oh, now I'll never see through these eyes again. Because there is at a certain point, if you die not unconscious, not in a coma, or in an accident, everything shuts down in a certain, usually in a certain order. And there is such a thing as you may be alive for a while yet, moments, hours, even days, where seeing is done. Your eyes are open, but you can't see anymore. Your ears still have the capacity, but you can't hear anymore. One by one, the senses shut down. And you'll still be alive. And if you've exhausted all potential for enjoyment, if you've enjoyed to the maximum, then you'll enjoy that too. You'll say, oh, now my eyes are clouding over. In a second or two, I'll never see anything again. And you'll enjoy that. It won't panic you. It won't sadden you. It won't freak you out. You'll feel tremendously thankful for a lifetime of being able to see. And you'll voluntarily and willingly allow the vision principle, the vision sense to evaporate, knowing that you'll never see anything again from these eyes. You can still see, but not through these eyes. After you're on the other side, you'll see all kinds of stuff, but it won't be through any eyes. So you'll willingly relinquish all the gifts that have been given you, the gift of sight, the gift of hearing, the gift of movement. Maybe you've never thought about it. There'll be a point in the death process where you'll never move again. The last movement will have happened. You won't have the capacity to move as much as you even might want to, even a little pinky one iota. Movement is done. You'll just be laying there. And you'll enjoy that. I don't have to move anything. But if you've lived a glum life where everything was overly serious, where everything was felt to be too much of a burden, where you tried to find a way to do less, not more, then when all those processes of shutting down begin, you'll go into horrible panic. Because you'll say, no, it can't stop now. I haven't lived enough. I haven't seen enough. I haven't heard enough. I haven't loved enough. I haven't touched enough. No, not yet. Not so quick. And it'll be too late. You'll rage against the shutting down, and it'll be very painful. Your mind will reel. Your body will feel the pain of the resistance. You'll choke on every breath. So live now. Enjoy now. Let go now. Stop resisting now. Before it's too late. Before the last moment comes. And don't think, oh, it's good enough if I find out I'm going to die and I have 3 weeks left, I can pack it all in. Because you are living the habit right now, and that's the habit that will persist. If some doctor tells you you've got 3 weeks, it's not going to change. The habit will have been set. You'll just go deeper, actually, into the habit. You'll avoid more than you were avoiding in life. You'll refuse to see even more because you'll be in a panic. Because part of you knows, I missed it. I missed the whole life. Here I've been on the planet all these decades. I missed it. I didn't really live. I kept my eyes half closed. I kept my ears half shut. So you have to change that habit starting now. Not, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow will be too late. So that's all the explanation why it's no small thing when somebody reports, I find myself able to enjoy in a way I never could before. Yes, Sarah?
I'm so frustrated that I even want or feel compelled to talk about this. I experience feeling like a burden, like I'm a burden.
So what if you didn't talk about it?
That would probably be a good idea. I'm game for
No,
that.
even to yourself. What if instead of talking about it, you enjoyed it? What if you enjoy the feeling of frustration as simply an activation?
The frustration is easier. It's the underlying pain, and I was focusing on that as a gift and enjoying the pain. Where I get stuck is that it's so debilitating. It's like
You can't enjoy the pain because you'd have to be an actual masochist to enjoy the pain. So don't try to enjoy the pain. But you can enjoy the fact that pain is possible and the fact that pain is there, because to whatever degree pain is there and to whatever degree pain is possible, it means an equal measure of pleasure is possible. You can enjoy the capacity to feel at all. Even if what's being felt feels terrible, you can actually plug in and enjoy your own human capacity to experience. And that becomes the container for the unpleasant experience. And the container is wider than what's in it.
Yes. When I feel the pain, that there's a wanting to fix it, the wanting to do something. That can't I do anything to fix it, or what can I do to fix it? Is the correct or appropriate response just to focus on the enjoyment of the capacity to feel? What would be the best response to the pain?
Well, the best response would be to recognize that it's bogus.
I get that intellectually. I get that intellectually. I feel controlled by the kind of physical experience of it.
Sure, it's hard not to be. So if you actually do for real get it intellectually, then intellectualize it. Then move to your intellect and enjoy the fact that you understand the bogusness of it, even though it's feels so searingly real. So don't cooperate so much with being pulled into it. That's why I say intellectualize it. Jump into the intellect. Jump into your mind. And tell yourself what you already know. Well, I know it's bogus, but it hurts so bad that I only know it mentally. I only know it intellectually. Good. Most people wouldn't know that.
That's what's so weird. I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so bogus. It's ridiculous.
Well, if that's clear to you, then it's on its way out. Because that's the only thing that can convince you that it's meaningful or yours or will continue, the fact that one doesn't see its bogusness. When one takes it serious and believes it to be real when it's in fact bogus, there's no hope until you can, even intellectually, entertain the possibility that it may not be what you think or as potent as it feels. But if you're already able to do that, then it's on its way out. Nothing can survive the nothing false can survive the power of your intellect when it represents true understanding. You know, you don't throw out the darkness, you just shine a light. That's your intellect. The mind is not the enemy. The mind is simply misused most of the time. Using it rightly means it shines a light. So if you get it intellectually, that's where it usually starts. So that means the train is moving. Toot toot. So let the light be bigger. You'll be going in the right direction if every day, every week, more and more, it seems more intellectually solid, more clear that it's bogus. That means the light is expanding. And sooner or later, it will be exhausted how much it can be held intellectually, and it'll start to be more than just intellectual. That's the natural process. There's not much you have to do except allow it. Not fight to hold on to the pain as familiar or meaningful. The biggest trouble with emotional pain is people tend to see it as so meaningful. Most of it's bogus. Most of it's pumped up. There's not much meaning in your emotional pain. The real meaning is in your spiritual pain. And even that doesn't have much meaning compared to your spiritual joy. So you've got to start understanding the right hierarchy of meaning. If you live in this pop culture, then you're probably carrying a notion that the highest priority of meaning and meaningfulness of meaning is emotional. It's not. Feelings are a dime a dozen. I approve it. I'll come pinch you. You'll feel totally different instantly. I'll pinch you hard.
Well, I just wanted to report on the actual truth of that. This handout that we've been reading a lot from mystery school people The practice of this way of satsang is active heart relinquishment of all bodily, emotional, and mental self-consciousness. And then it says, it is responsive but active and intentional surrender of all bodily states, all emotional reactivity. And when I first read that, that really popped off the page to me, like, because I very
You're an
much,
emotional reactor.
I'm an emotional reactor, drama queen. So I've been practicing giving that up, like give up your resistance and every other kind of childish and adolescent nonsense. So when it comes up, I've been seeing the adolescent nonsense of it and dropping it. And it doesn't always work. There's sometimes I really
Well,
want
the
to hold
adolescent
on.
nonsense of it isn't it. It's your response to it. It's what you do with it.
Right. There's a difference between feeling depressed and then feeling depressed about feeling depressed.
Yeah, so
Or feeling frustrated and then feeling frustrated about feeling frustrated.
yeah, so that's good. And if you want a secret on how, because there's 1,000 ways to drop it. There's 1,000 ways to transcend it. And if you want a secret on a quick and easy way, no matter what the feeling, no matter what the experience, if you just tell yourself it's energy, which it is. Nothing that isn't energy. If you just see it as energy and don't give a valuation to it, oh, that's a good feeling, that's a bad feeling. If you just call it energy, if you just experience it as energy is happening, that's transcending. If you just let it flow, because that's what energy does, if you just let it move, then if it's an unpleasant feeling, it's more likely to leave quickly. And if it's a pleasant feeling, it's more likely to hang around. Not that that's what you're trying to do, but that's actually how it works. Because you're not pushing in any direction or pulling in any direction. The flow is trying to flow. It's only you that want to give it a name and a meaning and have it be one kind of experience or another. So if you really are stuck and you feel like, oh, this one's too powerful, I don't know what to do with this one, just see it as energy. Because ultimately that's all it is. You're an energy field. Everything that happens in you and around you is energy.
So the emotions that happen more intensely are really just a matter of it's
That's
just
a more intense
energy.
flow of energy.
Wow. So that's why to try to like step outside of it doesn't always feel that successful.
Don't step outside of it, then you're fighting with the flow. Just translate it in your mind, oh, here's a whole lot of energy. Because that's exactly what's happening if you don't give it a name, a label, an interpretation. Sure, you'll notice this feels good, this feels terrible. Disregard that noticing and say, here's energy. Don't try not to notice, that won't work. But disregard the noticing. Okay, and beyond that, wow, energy.
First, I want to say thank you. You've addressed like all of my problems tonight. Everything I couldn't get, you got to. So thank you, except for one thing.
Well,
That's
that'll be the most bogus one then.
Okay, good. Let's see though. Today, something really odd happened, and I woke up understanding how bogus my effort has been for my whole life. Everything that I've tried so hard to do has fallen way short.
Well, the same way that all enjoyment has no cause, actually, all effort is bogus, actually.
Hmm.
Because it assumes that you can control something. Now, that doesn't mean you never do anything and just lay in your bed forever. But what it does mean is you have to understand that any idea of control is bogus, is a misunderstanding on your part. You should do everything under the sun that you want to do or think you should do, but you shouldn't do anything with the idea that you're controlling it. All you control is you, what you bring to bear in any situation. Your level of attention, your level of awareness, your level of participation. Other than that, other than what you bring to the table, you don't control a thing. I've been saying that years, years and years in 1,000 different ways. And I'm going to find 10,000 more. Because everybody needs to hear this at least 1,000 different ways till it starts to make a dent. Because you've all been conditioned very hard to believe that you can control much. So if you see that it's all been bogus, that's right seeing. Now you have to have right response, which is not to get frustrated, depressed, upset about it. Oh, look at all that effort I expended for nothing. It wasn't for nothing. But the idea that you control anything, that's for nothing. Because that's simply the human illusion. And it's never been more prevalent than in this place, in this time, this society, in this era. Never has it been more prevalent. No society has ever fooled themselves more that you control something than this one. That's no question about it. No society has ever been as self-worshipping. So if you're seeing through that, then that's a huge breakthrough. So don't misunderstand the meaning of it and start thinking, oh, I shouldn't make any efforts. It means my efforts don't represent control because I don't actually control anything.
I think the biggest emotional hit to it is understanding how the pressure, well, when you say we've been taught to do that, I mean, I was really taught to do that. If things didn't
Everybody
go
was
right.
really taught to do that. People weren't taught anything. Were really taught to do that just because that's in the society big.
Yeah. So it's not, oh gee, my effort has been expended. It's what the heck am I trying to do?
Well, and if the answer is I'm trying to control, then stop immediately. Don't stop the effort necessarily if it seems right to do the effort or the action, but stop the intention behind it, the idea behind it, that you're doing it because you can control something. All you have to stop is that.
Yeah, I woke up this morning saying, oh, Kellen may fail ninth grade. And my effort to help him didn't diminish, but I finally realized that it might happen. If other things might happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped inside of myself fighting the notion. I stopped saying that can't happen, it won't happen, I won't let it happen. I can do something about this.
Yeah. And you may choose to do or decide to do everything humanly possible about it to prevent it, and it still may happen.
Yeah. That's what started the ball rolling.
You may exhaust every possibility, literally. Nobody on earth could do more than what you've done But because you can't control it, because it's more factors than just what you do, it may happen anyway, even though everything's been done to prevent it.
It feels like when I resist like that, it feels like every molecule in existence goes against me and piles on top and pushes me back.
Well, and that's bogus too, because every molecule in existence knows that you don't control anything. And then every molecule really, all the molecules really are concerned with your illusion of control.
Well, according to me, they are. I guess I'll let that go too.
So that's a great gift. That's a new dawning of understanding that wasn't even possible before. Now you actually have a chance to understand what it means, the statement, human beings don't control anything, other than what they bring to the table, other than your own faculties of awareness and attention. And we spend all our time trying to control everything else and pay almost no attention to our own faculties of awareness and attention. We don't bother with that because we think that's automatic and there's nothing for us to do. That's the place where your effort will make all the difference in the universe. If you start putting your effort on more awareness and on focusing your attention toward the profound, toward the ultimate, toward what matters. That's the most you can do, and that will yield exponentially tremendous results. Then you'll feel like you really do control something, because everything will transform. So it's literally inside out, the way we tend to think, the way we're taught to think. That which deserves our attempts to marshal it, focus it, in a sense, control it, control what we do with it. It's left alone and never thought about or anything done with it. All the things outside of us that we have no control over, we're busy trying to control. So if you flip it inside out, then you have the right understanding. And it becomes unbelievably enjoyable. When you begin to taste for the first time what it's like to marshal your attention toward the divine, when you really experience you moving it off of what doesn't matter and onto what does, you begin to feel an enjoyment that you never anticipated. A whole different kind of enjoyment. Anything that's moving you to the divine, moving you in the right direction, you'll notice enjoyment. All the more if you did it. It's never enjoyable when I make you. You have to do it.
The outer and inner complainer haven't been around so much. And
So somebody impersonating you's been at the house?
not as much as usual, I guess. It feels like a relief. And
It's too soon. See if the outer and inner complainer are still less around a month from now.
okay.
It's too soon to call that game. It's too soon to evaluate.
I'm not suggesting that they're gone, but just lately, that's my
No.
experience.
I meant what I said. It's too soon to say that lately that's my experience.
Okay,
You don't know yet.
okay.
A bigger complainer than you've ever experienced may wake up tomorrow,
That's true.
and that will cancel what you're saying now. You
That's
wish
true.
you hadn't said it. So wait and see if it's true. It might very well be true, but wait and see how true it is.
Okay.
Before you tell yourself, I'm not talking about us, before you tell yourself, oh look, the inner and the outer complainer are so much less there now.
Let me rephrase it.
I just did.
Okay.
You don't have to bother. I rephrased it for you. I heard you rightly, and I responded. Accept the response.
Okay.
Don't revise it in your mind. But, oh, what I really meant was, I know what you really meant.
Okay.
See, that's the subtle form of the inner complainer. I didn't really say what I meant, so I better clarify that.
Thank you.
Way better. Did you have your hand up?
Yeah. I wanted to give a report. I gave a report a few weeks ago or something on how relaxed I was. And to my surprise, that was nothing compared to how relaxed I am now.
Mhm.
And in that relaxation, I can see where I can still relax more. So I know there's more to go, but I just wanted to make that report. And in that relaxation, I've seen crazinesses operating that I didn't see before or weren't clear before. Were still there, and that isn't a problem. And in that relaxation, I've been listening to the CDs or some. I'm amazed at what I can hear now. Like you said, things that have been said 1,000 times. It's like in that relaxation, it's a whole new. I knew that you were saying it for years. I just listened to my discipleship the other day, and it was out of this world. It was amazing. And I wanted to give the report that the not good enough or worthy is gone. And I wanted to live the gratitude with my life. And call you Guru Dev.
Call me Jimmy.
Jimmy G. The most amazing part is I don't really have, like, I don't want to say, I have no idea what's going on, I don't know, it doesn't matter, I'm not concerned with it. Like relaxation, I just know that I can relax more. It's not a problem. I'm not concerned with it. Thank you feels cheap, but thank you. In your comments tonight about the retreats, I can see that the first retreat that I went to, that the Bodhi Center, that is still, the effect of that is still happening. It's still unfolding. The what I heard at that retreat, and it's still happening. The thing I just want to say the most as well is that, I've believed all along that it's not possible for me, and somehow I know through your grace and through the grace of having a spiritual master, and I know through persistence that it's inevitable if I keep going. You've said that so many times, but I've never really believed it, and now I see that it's true.
Actually, if you're like most people, you don't believe it till it's
Yeah.
happened and it's hindsight, and you can't deny it if you want to.
Yeah. I want to say I know I can, but it's in that it sounds like a postponement to me. Up until this week or last week, whatever it is, you said to me, make your every breath in service. And what I often have the experience of is whenever something's given to me, the first is like, okay, I can do that, and then that's. It's like I look forward to that joy of doing the sadhana, whatever else, and then when, left to my own devices very shortly after, the belief comes that, how can I do that?
This is why I never leave anyone to their own devices.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know all about own devices.
Thank goodness for that.
That's why gurus exist. Because left to your own devices, you don't have a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that.
I got your most beautiful letter I've ever gotten since the Bodhi Center started just the other day from a 22-year-old person who gave a true report of absolute falling into the truth, genuine enlightenment, spontaneous and unasked for. And he was writing me because he wanted me to help him. The help he wanted is he realized as time went by that all the enlightenment in the world isn't going to serve him if he doesn't allow some exterior guidance regarding not falling prey to his own ego. Because I've told you again and again, the ego doesn't go away. It just becomes transparent. But if you're not yet of an understanding of how to handle that, how to handle your own ego when it wants to get solid. No matter how transparent it's become, no matter how much you've merged with the truth. And this is part of the proof that his report is real, that he's attained what he says he has, because he proves it in 1,000 ways, but he proves it in the statement that I can see that left to my own devices, the ego is winning again. And I've accepted what some kind of higher wisdom seems to be showing me, that I need exterior guidance. I need a guru, a teacher, someone who can help me with that aspect. I don't need a teacher to take me to the truth. The truth has me. But it turns out I still need a teacher to help me learn how to not be the victim of my own ego. And he's right. This is the problem with young, sudden attainment. Maybe if this had all happened to him when he was 50 or 60, he wouldn't need any outside help. The ego and how to not be the victim of it would be clear to him. But at 22, no way is that going to be clear. So you could be standing at the epicenter of the truth, and left to your own devices, you're in trouble. The fact that somebody so young could have the wisdom to see that knocked me on my keister. The whole letter. I'll bring you the letter and read it to you. You've never heard anything like this. Now, if he ever shows up here, who knows? We invited him. But we'll see if the world is complicated. We'll see if he shows up. He doesn't live far away. But you never know with people. It was the most fantastic, wonderful letter ever. And I believe every word he said. I know every word he said was the truth. But he wrote me a letter. He didn't show up. So we'll see. Time's up. We're over time. My keister's sore. My keister's out of here.